then there are us, professors. We assign the exams, we schedule the dates for the exams. Once we've said when the exams are going to be, it's the student's responsibility to find their own proctor in the system. So I want to show what we do as professors, and then I want to show what you have to tell the students to do to find their proctors. Now, you're going into this, they've got 3 sections, because it's more than just proctoring that they've got there now. Yan has got a course out here that she just approved a course. I don't think it's on the system yet, but it's a short little graduate level class, a 1-hour class, and anybody from the whole UNC system can take that if they think it's going to fit with their program. So that's beneficial, and I think more of us ought to take advantage of that. You can browse through this and see what kind of courses are already listed here. Some of them are the basic undergraduate principles classes that everybody might take. We probably should be participating in this more. But for our purposes, we're going to use this Proctoring Services button over here on the right. As a professor, I'll go in here and I've done my midterm, but I haven't done my final yet. I just realized I don't remember the exact dates, so I'm going to have to make it pretty narrow. So as a professor, I go to this address, onlinenorthcarolina.edu, and I click on the Proctoring Services button, and I click on Login. And if you're on campus, it's supposed to recognize that you are here on campus, you're using a UNCP computer, so it's supposed to log you right in. It did not. It did not recognize that I'm on UNCP. So I've got to go down over here, pick UNCP, click on that, and then it gives you the seal and it says login through your campus. When I do this through my office computer, it takes me right to this. It's got the seal and it recognizes I'm a UNCP professor and it says login through your campus. Here I had to select the UNC Pembroke to get in. So I click on the login through your campus. And then you've seen this login screen before. So you use your regular UNCP username. The short name, not your. I'm going to use Frederick. Frederick. So I didn't use James.Frederick at UNCP. I used just my short name. And then my password, my regular email password for the university. Okay. Now I've already put in my midterm, and it recognizes the midterm here. If you haven't logged anything in here, you'll see something that says campus section title, but you won't see the lighter gray bar here. I need to put in my final exam, so I'm going to put in
Drop down.
Okay. So I think that's just going to describe that course. Oh, there. Okay, so while there's the add button I wanted to get. So while I'm looking at the midterm, the description of the midterm, show you what these tab buttons across the top mean. You've got the class roster, got all my students there. And it's showing the arrangements. It will show the arrangements for my midterm exam. If I wanted it to show the final, I would have to click on this bar. I haven't got my final in yet. And you can actually ask it to show you both final and midterm. It shows the midterm. If I uncheck that as something, it's not going to show the midterm. So this lists all of my students, and if anybody had signed up to take an exam with a particular proctor, it would show me those details. So tell me which proctor, tell me when the students would take that exam. But as of now, nobody has signed up for any. Oh, one of them has. Okay. One student has. Tara Odom is going to take the exam on October 8th at 10 a.m. This says UNC Pembroke. This is the where distance learning is across the street here.
Oh, is that where they go?
That's where they're going to go.
Okay.
Yeah. They might have arrangements with somebody else, but where it says. Let's see, what did it say? Denise Hunt. That's going to be the proctor. That's the person who I will receive from. This doesn't say West Building.
So you,
Proctor.
so you just clicked on the app, is that what you just did?
Yeah,
I'm
I
checking mine
clicked
now.
over, well, if you can see, I don't know if it shows up on the screen, but the UNC Pembroke is in a different color. So that's a link. I clicked on that. And actually, this says Dogwood Building. I don't think that's the West Building, so I'm not.
That's the right, I think that's the name of that building over there. Isn't West the residence hall?
Okay, West is the residence hall, but this used to say
Oh, East.
West something. Maybe they've just changed the name. The Dogwood Lane, that's the one that the international student office is on. So maybe they moved their office or something. Didn't think they had. Cammie's still over there on the corner, isn't she?
She's on Dogwood now, so maybe they do.
Oh, okay, they have moved, okay.
Yeah, this one is, 3395 Airport Road.
Airport,
Which is,
that would
It
be,
says UNCP, that's weird.
well, we have a campus.
we have a campus there, yeah, that's probably Rebecca Roberts.
Oh, yeah, location email. Ah,
Okay.
you guys are good.
So, Jamie Hunt is a proctor,
Yeah,
our grad student, okay.
well, this says Denise Hunt.
I mean Denise, yeah.
Yeah, Denise Hunt.
She, ironically, she's in the MBA class online that is in my class, so I guess I won't get her to proctor her own exam.
Yeah, I wonder if she's just the contact person, like maybe, is she the admin over there?
I
may
think
be
on her,
proctor.
yeah,
But
on
they-
her
they
bio that she sent me for class, she did, I think she said she was working here, so.
They have a bunch of computers over there, and they can monitor what's happening on those computers. And so they sit a student worker down in front of the monitor.
Terry Locklear is doing a whole bunch of mine.
Who?
Terry?
Terry Locklear is doing
Yeah.
a whole bunch of mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm a little bit concerned, in your experience, how far in advance do students need to schedule this? Like my exam, I have my first exam next week, and I'm giving them from the 15th to the 20th.
Yeah.
Should they have scheduled that already?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If
So
they're doing it next week, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, they have, a whole bunch of them.
There is a mandatory lead time. You've got to, these people insist on. There is a way for you to override.
Look how many don't. Aren't done.
There's a way for you to override that lead time. You may need to do that for somebody that you need to get on the stick.
So what do I just send out an email saying if you haven't,
Yeah. Find out who's signed up with a proctor and do it.
I can see
Through Blackboard.
people who are not.
Through Blackboard, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, the Blackboard and the system don't integrate very well, so I don't know how you can send out an email to the people who.
Well, I just sent out a link.
Yeah, the Mark signs up. I just record the name, go over to Blackboard, send it up through there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay, so we don't have GAs or TAs in that program, unfortunately, so, but if there were, the system allows us to put their names in. Okay. We've got another one also. Terry works in the same office over there, so I'm not sure why it says Terry or something, and then it's over here. Yeah.
So I'm pretty much new here and I have no idea, because I log in with my ID and it doesn't really show any like my courses
Ha.
or schedule.
You had the same problem I did.
So, how does that work? I need to open up my exam at the Blackboard first to get connected with the system or?
Shion, they messed us up. Because mine, I had to go through, Shion, when they were putting in my information, so they probably did the same thing to you. Instead of putting us in correctly, like, so our class is linked to Blackboard, they put us in using our email address. So when we log in, they did it incorrectly. So let me, Shion, if you, after, it took like, I had to call Terry Lochner's office, who had to call somebody in the GA, who had to call the technical people, who then called, it was like 20 emails before we got this resolved. But it's probably the same issue, Shion, so I can give you their number.
Yeah, give it to me too, because I just tried to log in and it doesn't have mine either.
So they must have put all three of us in incorrectly.
You're using like Melissa.man, is that? what
So,
you're
right, so they put it in as Melissa.man, but I couldn't do it that way because it wouldn't, because Melissa.man isn't a real user ID.
doing? Right.
So then they had to go into some system and reboot it or change it and get it corrected in GA,
Yeah.
like before they could
Probably
even.
the people at ECU that had to do it.
Yeah, so it's nothing here like they can do here. So I have the emails for the contact people.
Okay.
Now, I mean, but it was like literally 20 emails that everybody blamed
I'm
everybody
not
else.
sure.
We figured out what.
So you know who the final person was who did it? So just send us that guy's name?
Woman, actually, look at you being all,
Thought you said a guy.
Probably
I use these guys as a,
Mandy Doe,
what?
was it Mandy Doe?
No,
Mandy,
she helped me,
D-O-U-G-H.
but yeah, so Mandy was my kind, but, it was somebody else who ended up having to do
Okay.
it. But
Mandy's-
probably we should go through Mandy.
Mandy's very helpful, very
She's
approachable,
wonderful.
yeah. Now, I don't know exactly who's responsible for putting the course in,
Yeah.
but that should be there. I didn't have to put the course in. In fact, if you've got an online class, an 800 class, it's supposed to know, and somebody's supposed to know, and somebody's supposed to put that in.
You know how many this is? Oh.
Sharon, do you have it like coming up, or did you do the final exam, Proctor?
I need return after, it doesn't show.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I waited until the final because I thought I didn't have problems.
What is it?
You were smarter than I was, okay?
Yeah.
I put in like.
I was advice from Howard,
This is
actually.
how I log in, and this is it. So it doesn't show any schedule license like all this.
Okay.
So from up here.
Did log in.
Here, I'll just give you their info right now.
So here I can't really do it.
Yeah, it doesn't
There will
have
be
to be on.
another procedure that I have to connect it like that.
Okay, so Mandy
Yeah.
Doe, and it was Tabitha,
Mandy, M-A-G-N-Y.
so, right, Mandy, M-A-N-D-Y, last name Doe, and it's mdoe@northcarolina.edu. But Tabitha Locklear was the person who ended up having to,
Did you have to give them the name of your classes?
Tabitha's on this page.
right, so Mandy Doe, this is who I would go through. I would contact Mandy Doe.
Did you give the,
She just took care of everything. She CC'd me on all the emails and people she was dealing with, but she was the one who had to tell them to do it.
I'm just curious, since I have 2 online classes, if I have to send them my CRN or the.
No, they knew that already. She's like, I can see your class. It's like,
Okay.
she had that information. She's like, I can see you. Why can't you see it? And I'm like, I don't have any of this.
Okay.
So, but see how many people are actually on it? It was like Tabitha Locklear, Douglas Davis, Mandy Doe, Stuart Kiwata. It was like 4 different people trying to deal with this issue. but at least they'll have it down now.
It doesn't have diffusion or.
So remaining popular field units, okay.
It didn't have a system.
You know why?
Oh, so, yeah.
So Jim, may I ask a question, Jim?
Yes.
Pretty, maybe an advanced question. So I already have my exam
Somebody
schedule
calculated.
in the system. When I remember when I schedule exam, I put the password in the exam. So that's require Proctor to input the password before the student can open the exam in Blackboard. But now when I try to modify the password, I can't find this password information. In fact, I almost forget the password.
Okay.
So do you know how to
We can get
retrieve?
into that. I personally, I don't like computer exams. My problem with computer exams is that I've had students who are supposedly being proctored in an online computer exam, and they just cut and paste off of WikiLeaks or something, or not
Here, I'm
WikiLeaks,
just gonna forward this to you.
Wikipedia or Investopedia.
Suzanne, so that you
Despite
have
the
it.
fact that they're supposed to be being proctored, so I don't want to even have, I don't want to let them have access to a computer.
Okay.
One of the options in Blackboard though, when you create a test, is to say that they can't get outside of that. Like it blocks the internet. It's under,
No, it goes
it's under the test options, isn't it?
So you just do the paper exam?
I just do paper exams.
See, I think I made the mistake of doing an online exam and it's messing everything up. I highly recommend going with the paper thing. It is being a
Really?
huge headache because now I've got to yeah.
So it's a paper exam, but they just administer it.
Yeah, I put it in a Word file. I attach the, you'll see where, I'll go in here and show you. Okay, for the midterm,
Oh, so you
review the details, kind of getting ahead of myself. Change the following details.
The exams will be on paper. Oh, cool.
Well, you've got your option. You can have a computer exam, like you'd send the proctor a password. The proctor's only job is to give the student the password. You just kind of watch and make sure.
So if I said it was online, can I go back and change my mind now?
I don't think you can, especially since you've got some students that have already signed into it. Yeah. Well, let's see. There's an option to re-provide an exam.
That's correct. This is the password. Jim. When we provide exam, you have all the information with your password.
Is yours just Suzanne dot,
It's just alphabet.
oh, it's just up.
It doesn't matter. Any of them work. It's just
Let me
it's fine.
go through how to set up an exam here and set up my final. So I'm going to click on this and then add. I want to create a new exam. Oh, there's one. I'm going to add the exam. You have to give it a name, of course, and you have to tell it the time to go. So this is going to be my final. Of course, this is going to be, you can't shrink the window of time that you give the students to take it. You can expand the window, give them more days on which to take the exam. You can't shrink it. And since I'm not exactly sure when I set on my syllabus, I'm just going to give it a narrow window. And I'm going to start off saying, this has to be done. Exam week starts on the 7th, doesn't it?
Right.
I'm going to say,
You just type it in the search.
let's say the 8th. So morning of the 8th to this little icon, so the icon to the left of the box is your calendar icon. So clicking on this thing brings up the calendar. And the icon to the left of the time box brings a little clock over here, so that gives you various times. Clicking on it, it's not working. Suppose if this were blank. It's supposed to give you options here. So I'm just giving it one day. Later, I'm going to go back and expand the window, but you can't subtract days. Okay, duration. For that exam, I said it was going to be exactly 2 hours, 120 minutes.
Is that the typical in-class final
For a time?
time?
In class, they would have 2.5 hours.
Were they?
Our
Okay.
time periods for the final are 2.5 hours. And everybody else close your ears, but that's mainly so we can get the minimum number of hours in the term that we're supposed to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Charles, do you do it paper as well?
No, I'm doing online.
So you make the test in Blackboard,
That's right.
and it's a password protection, and you give the password to the
I think the system automatically send the password to the proctor once the students select the proctor. And the system will generate an email as far as I know. But I'm also doing here. Sharon told me that proctor, they have the password, so that's where
But I think you have to give the proctor the password.
the system.
Blackboard will?
No, this system.
This
Right,
system.
right. You give the proctor the password through this.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So exam types, these are the exam types the options you have here. An online test would be like your Blackboard test.
Yeah.
Online plus paper,
That's what I stupidly.
I suppose that's Blackboard plus written essay or something on paper. Or maybe somebody in accounting or finance would want to give problems or have them do graphs or something on paper. Computer-based offline. And then the fourth option down here is paper. I use paper, but if you're going for the online, it would have to give you, when you provide the exam, here I'm just giving the details, I'm not providing the exam. I'm posting the exam, but I'm not providing the details. But when you provide the exam, if it's an online exam, you would have to provide that password. I'm going to go down here and click on paper. So when it gets down to the time that I provide the exam, I have to upload, say, a Word copy of my exam for the printer, for the proctor to print out. It's more work for the proctor to do a paper exam, because the proctor's got to print out the exam, the proctor's got to scan the exam after the proctor gets it back from the student, scan it, and then email the images to me. But I've given too many Fs, because students couldn't control the urge to go online. Look for answers. Constant supervision required, close and constant. Do you actually want somebody looking at the proctor all the time? Ideally, yes, but a lot of students are going to have a hard time finding a proctor if you check yes. So I generally check no. I just not constant supervision, just look in on them, make sure they're not cheating too much. Yeah.
Hey, Tim,
Yeah.
so do the students have to go to a place to take the exam, or how is it proctoring done?
They will have to go to a place, they will choose their own proctor, so they have to find a proctor that's convenient to them. And some of them, if they live in a rural town, they may have to go to the next town. These are libraries, these are community colleges. There are some private businesses that are educational services that charge $35 for proctoring. Charging $30 is not unusual these days.
So does the
Because to
system-
us, we do it for free.
Does the system suggest the names of,
You go in and you can search like where you are, if you're in Charlotte, it'll list like all the ones within a certain radius.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but actually, we're almost to that point here. I'll show you how, I'll show you what the students see. So, you choose the type. Down here at the bottom, there's supposed to be a submit button.
Jim, I just want to make a comment about this close and constant supervision
Yeah.
requirement. Because I know from Sharon, because Sharon did this also several semesters for online exam.
Yeah.
Sharon suggests me to choose yes, based on her opinion. Because we are doing online exam, we provide password. And from what her told me that students don't have any problem to find the close and constant supervised curriculum for online exam. So,
Okay.
yeah, but that's just she told me. So I did the same thing. I choose yes because because for online exam you know that cheating is definitely a problem. So
Yeah.
I choose yes, just my choice. So
Have you had experience with that before? Do your students complain that they can't get Proctor?
Sharon, she told me initially had some complaint, but she did that for 4 semesters. Now probably not. I also have complaint yesterday. Students said, why online class need Proctor? Yesterday said, send me email.
Students don't like Proctors. They don't. And I think the reason is that they're used to on open book online, do whatever you want kind of exam.
so the close,
Okay, so I'm going to change my mind here. I'm going to go for close and constant supervision.
Just join by.
and what
Based on
does,
what you would.
So that's what Sharon does too.
Sharon did that.
what does the close mean?
Well, really
Sitting next
close,
to-
I would think of somebody looking over somebody's shoulder. But some of these, like the labs that we have over here at the what's the building again?
The dogwood.
Dogwood, yeah. They've got cameras looking at them, and they've got images of their computers. They can see what's on the computer, they can see what the student's doing. So they're not really looking over their shoulder, but the next best thing, they're being monitored. What I imagine a proctor would do if I had checked the no, which is they would look in once in a while and see what the person's online or what. But it wouldn't be constant supervision. Okay, then I get the options. You should tell the students someplace your syllabus or whatever announcement you have. Tell them what you're going to let them have on the exam. They won't necessarily see what's here. So make sure that that's available. I'm going to tell them they can have a pencil, they can have a pen, they can have any of these forms of calculators for my exams. I'm not going to check textbook, I'm not going to check blue book notes. I do let them have a piece of blank scratch paper in my exam. These are options for you. This box, this is notes that go to the proctor. The students will never see any notes you type here. I typically say the students have been told to bring and I do tell them to bring a photo ID. Tell them specifically what they should do with their cell phones. If you tell them, don't bring your cell phone into the exam, they're going to say, well, what do I do with it now that I've got it here? Tell them what they should do with it. Leave it locked in the car. And you get more compliance that way. Bathroom breaks, they want you to check this. I've been checking no. So,
No bathroom breaks.
no bathroom breaks.
I allowed one.
You allow
In case
one?
anybody has an emergency.
Yeah.
I allow one
I'm like,
jail.
I'm feeling like harsh, you know, like,
No bathroom breaks, I like jail.
none for you.
Well,
Jail,
if I,
Unlimited, just go whenever.
my midterm was only 90 minutes.
Offer
This is 2
coffee,
hours. Specify bathroom limit, okay, you got once.
I thought, I mean, one, like, that's enough,
Yeah.
like, come on.
But you never know what they're gonna have in the bathroom. They could have notes there.
Listen, I've gotta have faith in humanity.
Like, if they have to go, they have to go.
Faith in humanity, right?
That's what the Thames is for.
I just clicked no keyboard, because I have multiple choice. That way they can't browse the internet, I was worried
That
about
could be an
online
ADA
browsing.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you need to let them know that. Tell you.
Well,
This is
Well, exact opposite saying, maybe
What
one thing I want to,
am I-
just make sure you check their ideas.
Any bathroom breaks they need, use their textbook.
Just check their ID.
I don't see what I'm not doing, so you move on to the next screen. I don't have a submit button.
It's on the bottom
See,
right.
right, here's where
Oh,
I.
down here.
See, the online type exam, see, you're saying, so you do all your exams in Blackboard, Charles?
Yes.
So, can you, like, upload questions from McGraw-Hill to Blackboard, or no?
You mean my goal here?
Yeah,
I don't know how to do that.
Definitely.
you do?
You can do that.
Love you. I gotta meet up.
I've not done that, but
Uh, I have a list of things that I tell my students to do. I tell them exactly what they're allowed to bring here. Tell them it's gonna be 90 minutes. I may tell them, or this one's gonna be 2 hours, it's the final. I may tell them, bring your student ID, your photo ID. Blank sheet of paper if you want a calculator, leave yourself a limit card. That kind of information to put here. This is information, this rectangle. This is what you're going to tell the students about the exam. This one's silly. Any questions here? Oh, down here, I need to point this out. Publishing options. I can release the details. That is, the details would include the password. If you're going to give the proctor a password so that they can get it on the Blackboard. It would include the exam if it's going to be a paper exam, that is a Word or some other document that contains the exam. Excuse me, no. Details is what I'm doing. If it says release and provide the exam, providing the exam means providing the password or providing the actual exam. But I'm not ready to do that. I'm kind of giving them the method information, the details about the exam, but I'm not giving the exam. So now I'm ready to click submit. Any questions about this page?
So once I click the provide exam, I cannot modify it?
You can.
You can modify some parts of it. You can modify things like what you're going to let them take. There is an option to re-provide the exam if you've got spelling mistakes you want to correct in your exam. If it's a paper exam or a Word document or something, you can make minor changes like that. You cannot shrink the window of opportunity to take the exam. You can only expand the window of opportunity. Okay, so I have it. So now when I return to manage my exams, I should have, there's the course, I should see 2, midterm and the final now. Well, okay, let's move on. Unless somebody has questions here, I want to look at the proctoring, how the students find proctors.
So once you fill this up, the students, what, goes there and they're lost into, say if you're doing it on Blackboard, is there lost into Blackboard or what?
If you're doing it on Blackboard, and we're using a Proctor, then the students have to get the password for Blackboard from their Proctor.
That is if you impose a password, right?
I
mean, if you-
Right, if you don't, that means the students can take the exam anytime they want. So you want to make sure that they're taking it in the presence of the Proctor. So yeah, so you should put a password on it if you're going to do a Blackboard exam.
So you provide a password to the Proctor.
To the Proctor, and
At
the
what
Proctor
point?
to
At what point does he get it?
Well, that's the reason that they want to have some lead time on this. You provide it, well, sometime you might provide it a week before the exam, 2 weeks before the exam. You post the password, and then the Proctor will record it or look at it. When the student comes in, the Proctor will give it to the student. Now, with my paper exams, I post the exam 2 weeks ahead of time, and then sometime during that 2 weeks, the Proctor's going to take his time and print it out at a time that's convenient to the Proctor. So it will be ready when the student comes in.
Sorry for the many questions, but
No.
it's my understanding that the student finds the Proctor, right?
Right. We're going to get to that.
Yeah, but if the student finds the Proctor, then at what point do I get to know the Proctor to give him the password?
You never actually see the Proctor.
Do they get like an automatic email, or how do they get the password?
Yeah,
What, the Proctor, how does the Proctor get the information? The Proctor will know that the student has made an appointment. So the Proctor goes in and registers as a Proctor, and then will find the password for that
So
student.
they have their own portal? that
They have their own
go to?
portal
I see.
that I've never seen.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I might put myself in as a Proctor, because I've got some students who have asked to let me be their Proctor. There is a way to do that. We can get to that too if you've got a bit of time.
and do you get paid?
Do I get paid?
I just read the Proctor thing, you can become a Proctor and charge a fee, but if
It's
you're
your own
teaching a
student.
class, it has to be waived.
Yeah, if it's your own student, you gotta waive the fee, yeah. But I could be a Proctor and get a UNC student who's taking a class online, or a Greensboro student taking a class online, I could charge them $50. Okay. But we post that, so it's probably never would get it.
So for the print exam, after they finish it, who's gonna send it?
The Proctor would have to receive the exam. Usually they're gonna scan it, sometimes they fax it. So I'll either get it as a scanned email, or I would get it through a fax machine. The number for our fax machine, that's the number for our fax machine. That's in the mailroom, you've seen that. I'm sure you've seen the fax machine. The only problem is that that's the only fax machine we have. And sometimes fax can come in, and if the Proctor doesn't alert you that there's a fax coming in, a few days before you find it, somebody else may have taken it off with their fax and not realizing there are extra pages underneath it.
Oh, no.
So we've gotta be alert for those things. Okay, so I'm gonna log out and go back. Now, as a student, I don't wanna log in at this point. I'm going to click on Find a Proctor rather than logging in.
So the students we don't have to make sure that Mandy Doe has all of our student names or anything like that.
Somebody else is taking care of that.
Okay.
Maybe Tiffany, I'm not sure. But somebody is taking care of that.
So for students, they just go to the online North Carolina and then they click find a proctor.
Yeah. They will have to enter their UNCP username and password at some point, but I can go right into this, and it brings up the map. It seems to be centered on Charlotte or pretty close to this. So this is we'll zoom in.
So do you have the instructions for this? How do the students get that information?
I can type up some instructions and make them available. I don't have it.
Do students naturally know this process?
No, no. This is the old location. This is the West Building. Not West Hall, they call it West Building. So that's one location, apparently they moved the dog here. But there are other people in the area. Not sure who this would be. Oh, this is Robinson Community College, so they can find a proctor over at Robinson Community College. What's this one? Layton Community College Library. What's in Rayford? Polk County Library in Rayford. So there are places around. If they go to Raleigh, there are places in Raleigh, the Raleigh area. Each of these pins represents a proctoring location. Got a few in Germany. Not a lot, but we do have a few. Most of the military bases, or consular office, well, I don't know consular offices overall, but most military bases are going to have some kind of educational services officer who will do proctoring. So there are options for people that are in Saudi Arabia or someplace. So let's suppose that a student wants Proctor, go back to Pembroke. Let's suppose somebody wants to use the Proctor at the Robinson Community College Library. Patricia Locklear gives the information. Parking, yes, they don't charge, that's nice. Based. Now, if the person wants to make an appointment with this Patricia Locklear, they should click on contact information. So they go to the map, they look for it, they click on find a proctor up here, they get the map, they find a location that's good, they click on this contact info, and then it says schedule exam. Find a proctor, contact info, schedule exam. And this is where they're going to have to enter their UNCP username and password. So this is as far as I can get. I can't log in as a student. But at that point, then they would make an appointment with that proctor. You should encourage your students to follow up with an email directly to the proctor, just to make sure that the proctor gets proctor sees that that there is an appointment. Some of the
So-
proctors don't always look at their,
So if we're just doing the final, once we get access or whatever, do you recommend that we immediately go in and kind of like say, this is, the final exam is available for scheduling, even though it's months away? Cause like I have a student in Florida, and she was concerned about finding a proctor, and what I'm wondering is, she could still find a proctor before the test is available, right? I mean, she could be doing this without logging in, just so that she knows where she has to go and
well,
what she's gonna have to pay.
it doesn't hurt to make an appointment long ahead of time.
Okay.
It depends, do you know which city she's in?
No, in fact, I just looked at her old email and it didn't say, it just said I'm doing an internship in Florida.
We've got a lot of students up in the Raleigh area, and one place that's very popular for proctoring is the McKimmon Center. The problem is that when you get to the final season, all of the UNC system will be giving finals, and it's going to be very tough for them to make an appointment. One of the advantages of having a paper exam is that when you get to one of those peak seasons, proctors like it because you're not taking up a computer space. You just put them at a table someplace and take the exam. It's a little easier to make an appointment if it's a paper exam, therefore. But it's still going to be crowded at finals time. So the McKinnon Center, tell them to make their appointments well ahead of time. I'm sure there are options around Florida.
There are a lot.
There are lots of options.
Yeah.
Probably several of them are commercial places.
But
Yeah,
that-
they will, and I didn't see any free ones.
Yeah.
That's, I agree with Jim that we can make our exam available in this website early because this has nothing to do with Blackboard. My Blackboard exam is empty. I haven't made my exam, but all 3 exams already make is available in this website. So student can already schedule that. It's real big
You can
exam.
schedule it, yeah. You can schedule it.
December, I don't know what's the exam like. I only know the length of the exam, 2 hours.
At
that's
this
all.
point, you just have to give the
That's
date,
smart.
the time, the conditions, so that they can schedule the exam. You don't have to
So they, cause
provide
they could
the
go
exam.
into yours now and schedule all 3 of your exams,
That's right. I have students already do that. All 3 exams.
all 3 exams, okay.
Question, so you have this, since I clicked, so I set up my exam in McGraw-Hill instead of Blackboard. When people get to the exam and they're doing it online and they log into Blackboard, do they log into Blackboard and then the proctor gives the password, or how does that work?
Student has to first log into McGraw here by their own credential.
Okay,
And then you probably set the password in McGraw here for the exam, so that's the step.
so that's fine,
Yeah,
okay,
You don't have to give your exam in Blackboard.
okay.
If you can set up your exam in McGraw-Hill.
I was gonna say, 'cause it's already set up in McGraw-Hill, and then I was like,
Connect,
oh, I have
they
to,
call it
yeah,
Connect.
Yeah.
Okay, you set it up in McGraw-Hill's Connect. If you put a password on it,
yeah,
then
Perfect.
just do it that way.
okay.
So,
Ooh, that's what I was like, it's
just
gonna
make
take
sure
me
that-
hours to type all these questions.
Yeah, I think the
in
proctors kind of expect that they're going to be in Blackboard,
Okay,
but if you tell the proctor this is going to be in McGraw-Hill Connect, here's the address, the student should know the address anyway. And the password, of course, to take the exam.
and then they'll have the paper exam as a backup too,
As a backup.
cause remember, I
Yeah.
said they can do it either way, so.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Sure.
either way.
I have only one concept of McGraw here exam because students need to purchase the Connect McGraw.
Yes, all of my students have purchased their books except for one. So I literally, how many, you know what I'm saying? Before using the Connect, I would say maybe 50% if I'm lucky of my students actually purchase the book.
Yeah.
So now it's 100% of my students
That's
who are going
great.
to pass my class have to purchase the book with the Connect system. And it's only $65.
Yeah,
It's so much cheaper than buying a $200 book anyway.
yeah, that's true, that's true. And, you know, you can rationalize it by the fact that the online students aren't paying the same tuition that face-to-face students are paying. So maybe
They do or they don't?
They
No.
don't.
It's
They pay
cheaper,
less.
it's cheaper.
Yeah.
I'm using the Connect with my face-to-face students too.
Okay.
They had to buy the Connect system, not because I'm doing exams that way or anything,
Yeah.
because I wanted them to buy the book, and I knew if I demanded that they had the Connect, they'd have to buy the book.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's one thing. It's an incentive. You do get, I once had a student who kind of boasted to his fellow students that he never bought a book fair.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
they're there.
Now, one other thing, if you want to be a proctor, you can set it up, well, I'm a proctor for some of my students, and I have it set up so that only my students know that I'm a proctor. There are three options when you set yourself up as a proctor. You can be public proctor, you can be a limited proctor, you can be a private proctor or unlisted proctor. I'm the latter, unlisted. Public means that anybody that has access to the system will see your name and that they can make an appointment with you. Limited means that the only people in the UNC system will be able to make an appointment with you. The 16 campuses in the UNC system. But the private or unlisted, like I am, means that I have to tell somebody that I'm available, and I have to tell them how to find me before they can make an appointment with me. But so to become a proctor, you would click on to become a proctor, and you have to get approved. This can take a couple of weeks, maybe a week, 6 days, 5 days maybe, but you should allow a couple of weeks. Don't just set yourself up. Don't try to set yourself up 2 days before your midterm. Yeah, it's not going to come through that fast. They do check, and it takes time to do a good check, and they do a check on this.
I have a quick question about that. So if my students, like, as I just mentioned, my exam's next week, and a whole bunch of these guys or girls have not found a proctor yet.
Yeah.
Do they have to have a UNC proctor, or can they come begging to me and be like, can we sit in a classroom and you proctor our exam? Like, how does this work? Or do I have to fail them if they haven't got a proctor?
You can do that.
No,
It
the
gets awkward.
UNC one that's not you, UNC one is open from 8:30 to 5.
Yeah, you can send them over to Terry.
I mean, yeah, I would not say, I mean, they can be here and it's free, or the Robeson Community College and it's free.
And there's nothing to say you can't let them sit in the classroom. I mean, the
Yeah.
requirement that we're all here trying to address is that the exam must be proctored.
Okay, so
So
it's
you-
not like this clicks on my blackboard and says,
Right.
you didn't have a proctor, so you
Yeah,
automatically,
right.
I can't, okay.
On the other hand, if you just informally give them the exam when they come in and see you, the computer's still gonna think that they haven't taken the exam. And it will occasionally give you messages saying, so-and-so hasn't had the exam, so-and-so hasn't had the exam, so-and-so hasn't had the exam.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. No, I'm gonna send a reminder today.
Yeah.
Sign up for the final.
Yeah. Sign up,
So,
people. No, I did it online proctor.
Otherwise they can.
agree to be a proctor, go through these conditions, they're up to be,
Oh, boy. Do you have to donate DNA too?
yeah.
Probably get fingerprint.
Alright. Do you charge a bunch of money?
Oh, I have read.
Little side business, you have to
It
report
doesn't say
that?
anything about your fee that you're gonna charge, however, the fees are posted. They, like you said, we knew that Robinson County was free, we knew that somebody in Florida charges $35. You get exorbitant wages. It's a
Like
very
gorge our
competitive
students.
market, yeah. Begin application. I'm not sure how far I'm gonna be able to get with this, because I'm already in the system. But yeah, that, we would go through this, you saw I had to click on the read the conditions, go down to the bottom, click over here where it says I have read the conditions, and then click on that, and you get the option to begin application. Let me show you what the students have to do in order to find me, to make an appointment with me. They would have to click on, I think they can click on either one of these, find a proctor or invite a proctor. I'm going to say invite a proctor. Log in to, that's going to work. Then one student.
That's good. We need to snag some random student in the hallway. Come on in.
there's a button to say, see if somebody is in the system.
Oh, invite right there, yep.
Invite,
Oh, no,
I've
yeah,
done that
download,
over here.
yeah, maybe that's. the
Can't
same
find a
thing.
Proctor, I think these give us the same
Or
thing.
advanced.
Invite.
Or what, yeah, advanced search.
Invite. These link to the same place. Let's see. Well, let's try this. Proctor, let's try the advanced search.
Thank you guys so much for your help.
So hopefully they'll be able to get that straightened out.
Do we have a deadline for Sedona stuff?
20th.
Of September? Okay, because I have to, they stopped in 2009 or 10 when we had our accreditation, so I have to update it.
Thank you.
Okay, I logged in, this is what I wanted, I had, back up, I clicked on invite a Proctor, it made me log in. But then I get this option to check to see if an invitee is already in the system. So if I put in not my username, my email address, put in the email address, james.frederick, at uncp.edu. Then I click search. It says, okay, there is a Jim Frederick in the system. Now, this little calendar over here, if they click on that little calendar, they can make an appointment with me. So what they had to do was click on invite, verify a Proctor. They had to log in. That actually figured out. And then it said, check to see if somebody's already in the system, and enter the email address and click on the calendar icon. That will let them in. That will let them make an appointment with you if you're already in the system. Okay. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, I'm so glad you had this today.
If you have questions, come see me. I want to put up some instructions, make some instructions available for the students and for the faculty. So I'll pass out the email on that.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you for a video. What's your name?
Troy.